Hey everybody, and welcome back to Horror Film Lovers here on Indie Film Cafe. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I've got my co-host,
Michael McGlynn.
Michael McGlynn. And Michael and I have talked about before. So first of all, sorry for the break. We have had a lot of shit going on. We'll probably get into that later. But we're back. So we have decided that, we were talking about it before, and we both love this movie, which is Club Dread. And we Broken Lizards, Club Dread. Let's be real here. And I've been a big fan of this movie since it first came out, and everything. I've loved it, and Michael loves it, and we'll get into more of that stuff in a second. But I just wanted to like make everybody know, like, um, when we did this, I was like, we gotta do this. Like, this gotta come out during summer. This is such a summer movie, and everything. Like, if this came out this month or next month, I would have been happy. If it came out like in the fall, kind of would have been a little sad. So I'm glad that Michael did have some time free, and we're like, yes, let's get this going. And I had to rent it because I have it on DVD, but I think it's like all scratched up, and I don't think it's available on Blu-ray.
I don't know if it is or not. I'd have to double check it because yeah, you are right. Like I have it on DVD as well.
Do you have the regular or the uncut?
The uncut.
I think I just saw the regular. I don't know. I couldn't tell if there was extra or anything. So, but yeah, I'm sure you watched the uncut. I watched the regular. How long was it for you?
God, I don't even remember. But like anytime I went, like, because that was during my heavy DVD and Blu-ray craze, and like I always went after uncut. Like if it was
Hmm.
ever available, it was like I didn't care about being extra money because uncut, in my opinion, is how the director's full vision was really trying to
Yeah,
play out and stuff. And a lot of times,
like
I all the extra material.
like Stay Alive. Remember we did that, and that was we had an uncut version of that or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know you like the uncut version. That sounds really wrong. The uncut,
Eh,
that sounds like it's circumcised or whatever, or wait, or uncircumcised, whatever one it,
yeah. Yeah.
whichever one.
Yeah. I guess there'd probably be a reversal on that one. The uncut would technically be the uncircumcised because you're getting the full length. Oh, okay. We're gonna move on now.
Well, it's just perfect to talk about that when we're talking about this movie, Club Dread, which had a lot of like sexual innuendos and nudity, and it 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 was one of the most perfect slashers, you know, to like of that time period because like of course it had to have the Broken Lizard comedy stuff, and I'm sure they could have done a full-on slasher with no comedy, and be like really super serious, but like who would want to watch that? You kind of know if it's Broken Lizard, it's gonna be funny,
Mhm.
and that's what you expect out of it. Um, but I do have a story to tell you, and I don't know if I told you this one before, but I got to interview Steve Lemmy, who, is Juan Castillo, or I think that's his name in it. Or wait, is it? Is it Juan? It's Juan, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Juan. And Juan, so Steve Lemmy, I interviewed back in 2007 or 8, something like that. And I think I have that. I think I have that saved. Thank God. And it's on the Indie Film Cafe links, so you can just if you look up Steve Lemmy, you can find it. But it's like a 3 hour long conversation or so, or 2 hour, 2 or 3 hour, which he was only expecting to talk for like 30 minutes, you
Mhm.
know? And then he just kept chatting because,
Eh,
I started bringing up the tinfoil monkey agenda to him, and he was like, whoa, you really do your homework and research because I haven't thought about that in years, that kind of thing. And so we started talking about that, and then we talked about Puddle Cruiser, you know, which is one of my favorites. So I know it's not one of yours. We'll get into that later. By the way, everybody, we're gonna go into his our top seven, I guess, favorite movies from them.
let's see. Let's see. We got Super Troopers 1, 2, Club Dread, Beer Fest, Slam and Salmon, Pole Cruises, and Quasi. Yep. Nope. You would be right. 7.
Seven, top seven. So they've only done seven, which feels weird because out of all the time that they've been around for over 20 years, it feels like they should have done more than that. But whatever.
It's like they went up to the races real fast early on. It's like because you got Super Troopers, Club Dread, and Beer Fest all pretty quickly. It
Mm.
felt like, and then after that there was like a long pause, and then you got Slam and Salmon, and then Super Troopers 2, and then Quasi. Um, we'll see. Well, I would love that. Like, the good news is I'm actually going to be meeting a couple of them in September. Actually, they're coming to Jersey at HorrorCon. Matter of fact,
Nice. Which ones?
the lead girl from Club Dread, actually, and actually Eric Schroeder, the one who played Rabbit, and
Yeah, Eric Stolhansky, I
yeah,
think
yeah,
is his
thank
name.
you. Yeah, they're
And yeah, he did a great job in this movie too.
oh
He had
yeah.
a very Jim Carrey like thing to him. But so I talked to Steve Lemmy, and one of the things he when we got to the Club Dread, he mentioned a story that I love, and I tell this story all the time now. But he had said that he was on a plane, right? And this woman started noticing who he was. It's sort of like he was somebody, right? She was like, "Are you famous?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I've been in some movies." And she's like, "Name something I might have seen." And this is an older lady, right? And he's like, "Have you seen Super Troopers?" And he explains what Super Troopers is about. And she says, "No, no, that's not it." And he goes, "Okay, well, what about Beer Fest? That's blah 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 blah." And she's like, "No, no, no, not that." And then he goes, "How about Club Dread?" And he explains that, and she goes, "That's it. That's the one." And he goes, "Oh, I co-wrote and produced and acted in the movie, right?" She looks at her and goes, "That movie sucked."
Ah,
And he was like, "Did you hear the part where I said I produced and, wrote the movie, And she was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, okay, that's fair. Well, tell me why you didn't like it. Don't just tell me that it sucks. What made it suck to you?" And she said, "I didn't know if it was too funny to be scary and too scary to be funny, right? So I didn't know what it was when I was watching. I was very confused. Should I be laughing at these? Should I be scared? Like right? And he goes, "Well, thank you. I think a lot of other people felt the same. That's why it didn't do very well." And like I think maybe the marketing might have also messed that up too, right? Because like how are you going to market a movie that's a horror comedy like that, right? Like you're going to have to make them laugh in the trailer and show them that you're serious, And that's why like movies like Scary Movie, and stuff are big hits because they're not scary at all. They're just goofy, and shit, as opposed to like this. And I mean we got Evil Dead, we've got or well more or less Army of Darkness where it's scary but funny at the same time. I mean it's just it's one of those things where you gotta understand what's going on necessarily. So I don't know. It when I heard him kind of say that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. When I rewatched it today, I kind of looked at it in that kind of perspective, and I can kind of understand the woman, but then again, I still love the movie. I still love it. Like it cracks me up in the right places,
oh yeah,
and it has some really cool death scenes. It's not very gory. It's not like Hatchet or something where like blood
oh yeah, yeah. No, it's not on that.
spurting.
But I mean, you will see some good guts though, like along the way, like and some entrails hanging out of people and stuff.
Yeah. And then that's stuff like that. And then it's got like I think it has like very Sam Raimi type shots where like
Oh yeah.
the person's head the girl's head gets chopped off and then it just does like a whoosh, like
Mm.
a circle kind of thing and like and falls on the ground. And I thought and the camera was going around, so it felt like you were the head, and I mean that was cool. They put a lot of work into this movie, right? But I can sort of see why some people didn't dig it as much, and stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
then
Oh yeah, no, I can definitely get it. I mean, like horror comedy is not for everyone. Like and there's definitely a good right blend mesh. It's kind of like and the person's not wrong because I mean I can see where they're coming from. Where it was kind of it felt like kind of more like a 50-50 down the pike. Because even like your horror comedies like Final Girls, for
Hmm.
I mean, it's like they are a comedy that has the horror elements to it. It's like they're reliving the Friday 13th, but it's kind of like you're reliving Friday 13th from the outside perspective of the whole thing, and like well, like and so you already know you're getting more of a comedy base because they're going through what the formula is that it's already pre-written. In a lot of ways, it kind of did a little bit what Scream did. Scream kind of poked fun, but Scream actually went the opposite way. Scream actually went more for the intensity of like a slasher, but they sprinkled some little fun huff. And they did it in the right way. I mean, one great example is when we did Go Away. With Rose's character being the drunk aunt, she wasn't meant to be funny in the film, but when you filmed her and she did a great job, she just came out absolutely hysterical, and you just end up loving her character in it.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like Scream was the same way because a good example is like Stu and Jamie Kennedy's character,
Randy.
Randy. Thank you. Uh, they were kind of like the characters that were written a certain way and ended up being funnier on film than I think they were anticipating them to.
Mm.
But it wasn't over the top to where you had to start debating.
It was over the top at the end, I think. I think it's different. I think Stu became over the top. And that's why I kind of hated uh a little bit like of the Scream 5. Mikey Madison's character became way too Stu, and I was just like, this is just a ripoff of like it, like just changing it to be I'm sorry. I mean, I know she's an Oscar-winning actress. She's great, but like in that part, I felt like she went, and even what's his name? Jack Quaid.
I, I was wondering. I was like, wait, that's when that Jack Quaid, right? Because yeah, like even my wife and I are on that same bandwagon. That's like the worst Scream movie in the entire franchise.
I don't know. I have to rewatch them again, all in order. I really didn't like the last one. Scream 6. I felt like
That one was
I felt like that was the worst in my opinion. Because the problem I had with it was it just didn't make any sense, and and the beginning of it was just like, let's try to get Samara Armstrong in here. I don't know. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Scream
yeah.
series. We could do that another time. Maybe we'll do Scream 6 at some point or Scream 5 or something and do one of those ones just to kind of talk about what we, liked and what we didn't like about these things. But with Club Dread, they were able to take so like you said with Scream. Let me bring that real quick. Scream, it was funny at times. And like I think, like you said, a lot of it was improv and some like, like just Matthew Lillard chewing the scenery. And even Jamie Kennedy, he's a comedian. He's gonna be really funny. And then so those guys kind of made Scream funnier than Kevin Williamson planned, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, and that was part of the whole era of it too. That I kind of felt like is like most of your characters were going the opposite direction. They were more grounded. They were more serious tone and everything. So that's what kind of helped keep it in its realm of we are more of a slasher with little bits of comedy, maybe occasionally here and there. Uh,
Yeah, they weren't trying to be funny necessarily. It wasn't like Scary Movie where everything is a joke,
oh,
or whatever, a gag scene.
dirty.
Um, but in Club Dread, it's the exact opposite. They were a comedy that just happened to have the horror element thrown in,
Yeah.
right? So like if you took the horror element out of it, you would have had a probably a fun Club Paradise type you know, uh National Lampoon type thing, or something. right? They could have done that, but they throw in the horror element, which is serious, right? So they put the serious element inside a comedy, and I think it worked really well. Like it was really funny. Like there were scenes where it should be scary, you know,
Mhm.
but it still made me laugh. Like the scene where she gets in the golf cart, you gets in the golf cart, and then you just see him walking, the killer walking, while walking the same, thing, and kind of just looking at her, like, and I thought that was great. So it had like bits where it's this would have been the scary bit in the movie, but they didn't go that route. They went, I mean, to have somebody die while playing Pac-Man, basically a human version of Pac-Man, which I think is one of the most amazing things because I never caught that. I don't know why, but I
Uh,
never caught that it was Pac-Man, right?
mhm.
I was like always wondering why these people are in this maze running around with fucking,
They're doing, uh,
pineapples. What?
yeah, they're doing Human Pac-Man.
Yeah, thought that was great. Nobody's ever put human Pac-Man into a movie or whatever and stuff. And so I thought that was fantastic. Um, so I don't know, it was really well done, you know.
Yeah, like I absolutely loved it. I mean, I can see what some people kind of complain, well, could complain about, but for me, that didn't bother me at all. Like, I really enjoyed it a lot. Like, I enjoyed all the characters they played too, because what was great about this one for a lot of them is they were all playing characters that was really like when you see them and how they are in other films and stuff, like versus how they are in this one. Most of them took a major big turn. Yeah, the heavyset guy.
Kevin Heffernan.
Yeah, can have yeah. He plays a dick in most of their other movies. Like he's always the hothead a hole, whatever. But in this one, he's like the all like ooh bum, ooh Buddha, whatever.
Mhm.
Jay Chandler's character, being the renegade, like with like I couldn't tell if it was British or South African, like because the two can easily get
I
misconstrued.
thought it was like Jamaican because like what's his name says Sam Levine's character
No, but
Dirk is like
yeah, but the way he was talking about tennis, him like it was like I had to do Cox and Willis with him. It sounded
it's
like a lot more
true.
British to me.
Sounded more British, yeah. There was points.
But
Uh,
I thought he was funny, and then Steve Lemmy, like being one and stuff. Even his backstory that was funny. The redhead, he was probably the one that was kind of more on par with a lot of his other characters he played in other ones. He always seems to be a little bit that more of that wild, zany one, like in the bunch, and a lot of their other films and stuff too. You know,
Paul Soder. So that was the guy who played the DJ slash drug
yep.
guy. Um, so he blocked me on Facebook. Don't know why. I don't know if what I said to upset him, but I will say this, like I'll admit this. I did interview him back in the day, and after I interviewed him, all of a sudden he was gone, right? And I found out he had blocked me. And I was like, why the what did I do? So I still to this day have no idea what I did to piss off Paul Soder, but apparently I said something or did something. So if Paul is listening or somebody knows him, wants to pass on the message, I'm sorry. I didn't know what I did. I didn't do anything. I don't that I know of specifically to yeah. I hope I didn't say anything that was just rude, or something because didn't mean to, it's but I do remember interviewing him. I remember the interview him being kind of cold to me, a little bit cold to me, like, and so I'm like, oh God, now like when I re-listened to it, I was like, dear Lord, maybe I had said something early before the interview, that just like set him off. I don't know. But I do want to say I still love him in all the movies and everything. Like I won't ever, you know.
No. Well, another thing I like about Club Dread too, they always like have they always bring in like that one like well known big name celebrity, and out of all the ones they got throughout all the movies, the one they got for Club Dread and the character that he played is by far my favorite. And out of all their entire series, Bill Paxton as Coconut Pete was freaking awesome, and I will even dare to say this, it is actually one of my favorite Bill Paxton characters of all times. I actually thought he was great in that one. I I really felt like like I was seeing a different reincarnation of Jimmy Buffett, but with a lot more edge to him than Jimmy Buffett ever had. Uh,
Well, and talking about like it was like did you listen to some of the songs? Some of the stuff that he sang was just really gross. Like, And I'm like, cause like that even that Pina Colada Berg song had some really gross like connotations to it and stuff. And I was like, oh, like lyrics and everything. I was just like, it just sounded gross. But he was funny, and that's that scene of him saying, you mean Pina Colada Berg. That's the song that I sang, or I came up with 15 years before, Margaritaville was even on the map. But you wouldn't even know that because you weren't even born yet. Yeah. And then he walks away, and then he's like, "That son of a bitch."
son of a bitch. Yeah, that was, although I think my favorite line from him like in that whole one was when he was having the pep talk with his crew. He goes, and if it's not asking too much trouble, can you please sleep with some of the guests? Some of them aren't even bad looking.
I noticed like what's her name? The lead girl, well, Brittany Daniel, but what was
Yeah.
her she was in like Joe
Oh,
Dirt, right? And stuff like that. She's been in a bunch of
oh
good
yeah.
stuff.
Actually, another fun one I loved her in. She played the transvestite in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That
Oh,
Mac.
that's right. Well, yeah, the I think she was trans, yeah. And she was like, yeah, that was actually interestingly enough, they recorded that I think as like part of a like a teaser to get like, to get FX or somebody to buy the thing. They filmed this like stuff and they filmed with another person doing it. Well, later when you see her do it, she's just perfect. Like she did such a great job. I thought it was hilarious. And she comes back, I think, in another episode too. Like she's been in like more than one episodes playing that character. So I thought that was very awesome. Um, but yeah, she was great. Freaking Jordan, why is my brain not working? Um, from um from what's it?
Oh, you remember from Freaks and Geeks? The little guy.
No, 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 no. That's Sam Levine.
Oh, was it?
I'm talking about Jordan Ladd, who was in Cabin Fever.
Oh yes, yes, yes. The redhead gymnast.
So I was listening to the Cabin Fever commentary, and uh, was it Eli Roth got really pissed off because he had asked Jordan to do nudity for Cabin Fever, and she said she doesn't do nudity. She wouldn't do nudity or something. Maybe she said that because she didn't want to do it on that in that film. And he's like, okay, fine, and he does the movie. She doesn't do nudity. Uh, then he goes and sees her in Club Dread, and she's like, naked and everything, topless at least, and he was pissed because he was like, how the hell did they do it for this movie, but she wouldn't do it for mine, right?
Well,
And
I mean, if you go on a success level, he has a valid argument. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you told me, all right, you can only watch one of these two movies, like again for and then one you can't watch again the rest of your life, and it was Cabin Fever or Club Dread, I would pick Club Dread in a heartbeat to keep watching. I like Cabin Fever, but Club Dread's got that fun playback value. Like I've watched that movie dozens of times, and I will watch it a dozen times more. Cabin Fever, I'll go back and watch it again, but it's not one like I got to keep going back and watching. It's such a great film and stuff. I mean, it was a good film, but
mhm.
it just didn't have that entertainment playback value that Club Dread has. You know, Like well, I'll actually go a step further. Majority of Broken Lizards movies pretty much all have like
Mm,
they have a lot of fun. They have a lot of funness to them, so they always have good playback value. Like you always want to go back and watch them again because either you missed some jokes from one of the last times you watched that you caught this go around, or maybe you just haven't watched the movie in a long time and you forgot some of the jokes. You go back and watch again. It's almost like watching it for the first time again, and you just enjoy it that much more again.
mm. Well, yeah, and the Cabin Fever Blu-ray, by the way, sucks because they don't give you all the commentary tracks that are on the DVD and stuff, and I don't know why. Like why didn't they just fit that in there?
Have the space. I mean, Blu-rays have more space than DVDs
Well,
do.
I don't care. Figure it out. Like I'm not gonna. That means I have to buy the DVD and keep the DVD and watch the movie and stuff, and I don't want to do that. Like I want one thing. So give me two discs. I'll buy a two disc. Was it one with all the commentaries and then one with and special behind the special stuff, but like do that because they have five commentary tracks and they're all great. They're fantastic commentary tracks, all of them. And
Uh,
that's I
I
mean
like
I'm a big commentary guy. But what were we saying?
Oh no, I would just agree with you that yeah. I mean, I'm not as big in commentary as you are, but there are definitely films that when I see them, I want to go back. I want to listen to commentary on some of them. Some of them, I just like to go in and just watch. Like, okay, that was a fun watch. I don't care about what happened behind the scenes as much. But then there are some films like, yeah, you know what? I want to know what happened behind the scenes here.
Hmm.
Or like hear how a lot of the stuff got made, or how they did some of the effects, or something like that. Those kind of things could easily grab my attention and stuff. But the normal, like I said, I know you're that's more your shtick. Like when you get a movie, you're like, oh, I'm watching all the commentaries for it too. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like it could be Howard the Duck, or it could be like the next Avengers movie. Like it wouldn't matter with you.
Oh, it would depend on Howard the Duck. It would have to be who, if Howard the Duck is doing the commentary, that sounds awesome. Like, the voice of Howard the Duck doing, oh, well, I was in this scene and, blah, blah, blah. Like that would be interesting to me. But like hearing like a editor of Howard the Duck or something, I would have no interest, that kind of thing or something, I have to be somebody who's creatively involved. George Lucas would never do commentary. So I don't know who would have done commentary because everybody
The
like
Robins,
maybe um
or what about oh god, what was the lead girl's name? What was it? Lisa?
start with a J, didn't it?
I thought it was Leah Thompson from
Leah Thompson. You're right.
yeah
You're right.
yeah
Leah Thompson.
yeah
So
from
Lee
Mhm.
from Back to the Future. That's by the way, that's at its 40th anniversary this year. So that's awesome. But yeah. So anyway, to go back to Club Dread
Book Red, yeah.
movie we're talking about. Um, I don't know. So from the very beginning, you kind of get this. I mean, it sets up completely for slasher vibes, and everything like and it starts sort of like in the future, I guess, kind of thing, and it shows off what happens, like the murder, because you have to have the first murder in the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie. You know that as a
Yeah, they did
slasher guy.
like an hour or two like time jump in the very beginning, and then they kind of just wound back. Like it wasn't like a big massive. It wasn't like 3 months earlier, or it
Yeah,
was more like an hour or two later.
like 3 hours earlier,
Yeah.
and then we sort of see these guys get killed, and like that's when the comedy like was there because like there's one point where the girl's like freak goes to lick his ear or something, right? And
Hmm.
then she starts freaking out because she sees the killer, and he is like, "What, too waxy?" And I was like, and I remember being in the theater and everybody laughed at that, like, it's like the perfect like thing. And I was like, you could tell like this group of people that went to see this movie were like they wanted this, and everything. And it happens a few times, but sometimes it does. Like when I went to see that Child's Play movie, the remake, with the Mark Hamill did the
uh,
voice of Chucky or whatever. I forgot what they called him, but he was not Chucky. Um,
buddy.
Buddy, my buddy, I'm surprised he didn't get sued because that should have, my buddy
Walking a
is,
fine line.
yep. But anyway, well, they spelled it with an I think, and that's how
Yeah.
they got away with it. But anyway, they had, the I was at with my brother there watching the movie, and we were like the only ones in the theater, right? So we were like, okay, this movie probably sucks, but it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, something like that. It was like late. So we kind of just assumed people didn't want to come out that late for this movie. All of a sudden, a bus full of kids, like 12-year-olds and stuff, came
Uh,
and hung out and stuff. They had supervision, they had adults there or whatever, but the kids were running around. We had more fun watching the kids, and stuff, and then stuff that they were doing than watching because they got anytime something jumped at them, they were like, these time things jumped at us, we didn't do anything, but we kind of were like, hey, that was kind of it works. Like I noticed that with like PG-13 movies like Truth or Dare and all the other crap that the Blumhouse makes. When you watch it with kids, like teenagers, they really are into it, and they really do. It does scare them. It doesn't scare me because I guess I'm jaded with horror. What was the last movie that actually scared you?
ah, that's a good question. Uh, I know as a kid, Kingdom of the Spiders freaked me out with William Shatner.
Right, but that's as a kid, because as a kid, and this is my opinion, because I don't know how you were as a kid, but most movies, horror films scare kids, period. Like, Jaws scared me as a kid. Ghostbusters scared me as a kid. You got Slimer in your background there.
Yeah.
The original Ghostbusters terrified me because of the dog hands that came up and stuff. Like that scene just I don't know why that just unsettled me as a kid, and because I don't know.
See,
But
like I was kind of like that opposite though. I loved all the stuff. I was like even as a kid, I was a big gore hound. Like I loved watching like all the gory stuff. And part of it was like my in my back of my mind, I'm like, well, none of these things ever really existed. And like anyway, like yeah, Jaws was real, but I was like, yeah, but I mean, I was like, yeah, statistically speaking, though, I'll be fine
mm,
and stuff. But then when I saw Kingdom of Spiders, I'm like, okay, wait, there are spiders freaking everywhere. And now that's like in Jaws, even like at least we came out on top. King of the Spiders, we did not come out on top. We lost.
well, I'll say this though. I say that too. I said that too about the yeah, statistically. God, I hate that word. Jaws wouldn't happen. However, when I was young, about 12 or 10, something like that, in that age, I went to the beach out in Florida, and I was out there in like Daytona, and stuff, and a little shark, a little I don't know what kind of shark it was, but a little shark, maybe baby kind of shark or whatever, baby shark, do 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 do, came up and like you know, came nuzzled itself right next to my freaking leg. Freaked the hell out of me. It was in shallow water too, because I mean it was I guess a small baby, so probably got pushed from the waves or whatever, you know. But it came up and I was like, ah, so I was like, there's no way that there's not sharks that could just come, come in this area. And I for a while, I did not go back in the water because Jaws freaked me out as a kid. And that freaked me out even more knowing now are sharks going to come and swim up and bite me in the ass in my toilet bowl? No. But like I have to go to the beach to have it happen, right? Like, I could just go, well, I'm not going to go to the beach, and that solves the horror of Jaws, Um, with Club Dread, if you don't go to Pleasure Island, you're probably going to be okay. Well, hopefully you'll be okay now because I hope that the killer is dead, you know. I don't know. He was swimming.
I mean, there have definitely been plenty of deaths that scenes that happen now that character. I'm like, oh, snap! Didn't see that one coming. Kind of things. But like, nothing that really scared the hell out of me. I know like one that always stuck out in my mind. The first time I watched it, I was like, wait a minute, what? Oh, oh shit! Which was, did you ever see the movie Cube?
No,
They made a
I
trailer.
know of it.
Yeah, they made a trilogy, but like it's the very first one in the series. Like it's the very opening scene. They've got one of the people trapped in the cube going around, and they're all like, like most rooms are booby trapped, but there's like one or two rooms that aren't. So it's like a guessing game of which one to go to try to survive, and stuff. And they show you really early on the opening kill scene, one of the people getting killed, and like you just don't see it happen. You just see this guy walking across the one of the rooms, and all of a sudden you hear this whoosh, and like you just don't see anything. Like, all right, well, what happened? The dude just stopped, and then you just see like all these little red meshes like going all across him and all across his face and everything. Like, oh, oh, and then you just see him crumbling in these little bits, and like literally this giant ass, like kind of like cheese grater, just sliced right through him.
That kind of reminds me of when we watched Ghost Ship. Remember when we
Yeah,
did that? And like that opening scene is the best scene in the freaking movie. That like, I mean, you could just watch that scene and never watch the rest of the movie and be fine. But
definitely.
like, what?
It was definitely like that. Except imagine like it being like all these small little squares, like
Yeah.
cover your whole entire body. I was like, that one just caught me off guard, and I was like, what? What the? Oh, 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 shit!
Wasn't that like an independent film too, if I'm correct?
It could have been, because I'll tell you right now, like, let's put it this way, like, you probably didn't need a big budget to make that first one. I like that one, but it's one of those ones. It's just like Saul, though. Saul did not need a big budget to make their film at all, but it was the writing and the story and how it was presented is what sold it. Because if you see
Mhm.
the very first Saw movie, majority of that entire film was in one room.
Right. And
And it's,
I think, yeah, I think, yeah, that's right. I think, yeah, I'm looking at it. This is just was a movie made in Canada,
yep, that
and I think it was an independent film. How much did it cost? Um, oh wow, $365,000 in Canadian money. So I have no idea what that is in American dollars, but
that's or maybe more actually. Yeah,
it
no,
might have been like $1 million, but still like $1 million, is pretty cheap. I think that's about what Saw cost, or whatever when everything was said and done, you know.
and yeah, and look what that movie did. That movie spawned like a whole entire franchise.
Well, and yeah, and that's the cool thing is that you know, that independent films, like, I mean, even Club Dread is an independent film. It might have been like distributed by Fox Searchlight, but even Fox Searchlight at that time was an independent distributor. They weren't they were owned by Fox, but not really. They were the they were what I wish they would do. They would bring back these things, because Fox Searchlight, I think now is owned by Disney, so that sucks. So it's probably never going to happen. But what Fox Searchlight would do is they would search for movies to distribute that would garner audience that wouldn't be something that Hollywood would make, because Hollywood wouldn't touch this.
Yeah. Something that they could add to their libraries, but they probably wouldn't give theatrical runs to unless, like, unless it had that extra special spark to it, which would
Mm.
be great. I'm all game for that. I think all studios should do it. I think all studios should have one studio focus on their big budget films and get a secondary studio that goes out of their way to find independence, even if it's just to grab them and put them on their streaming sites. That's still giving like everyone like one, it's giving them more material, but also it's given these other directors like a spotlight and a chance to at least be
Mm.
seen and be heard, and at least let the public decide whether or not they like what they're doing or not. Because a lot of these people, like, there's some really great, phenomenal writers and directors out there that the majority of people, and it's sad to say, are never going to probably ever hear or know about because they're
Mm,
not that right chance to show and to shine what they have. And you just get that one spotlight to let them try to work their way to get there. That could be a game changer for both parties.
exactly. So apparently, according to Wikipedia, its budget was 8.6 million, and I believe it only made like $7 million in the in back or whatever in the profit. So it it sucks that this, like, I feel like somebody like Arrow or somebody like that should re-release this on Blu-ray and give it a better, give it a like a 4K treatment because it sort of deserves that. Like it deserves something.
But the bigger question is, how did the physical media sales go for that film? I mean, you have to include that in the mix as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Obviously it only did DVD
Yeah,
and I don't know. It doesn't say on the thing exactly, but I'm gonna look at box office right now and see. I like to see sort of what other movies came out around then. Like this is something that my buddy Joe Turk would do for our shows. I usually let him do it because it's his thing, but I tell him I do it on other shows if I can to kind of to bring it up. So what I'll do is I'll look up the so it grossed 7,565,807 worldwide. Um, it was on February 27th, when it was released. Do you know what movies beat it? Oh
what?
my God, because it was, is it even on the top? It had to be. Yeah, so it was number 8 in the box office, opening weekend. Um, the number one movie that beat it was The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, you're not going to beat that one.
And number two, 51st Dates.
That was also a very popular one, especially that was when Drew Barrymore was back on her high again.
Number three was Twisted. What was that? Yeah, who was in this movie? I don't remember this. Okay. Anyway, um, next after that is Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights.
Yeah, that's kind
That
of Club Dread should have beat that one out.
Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
Yeah, Club Dread probably should beat that one out too.
Euro Trip.
Okay, now that one I could see beating out Club Dread. That was
Uh, was it?
oh yeah your trip. Oh yeah, I mean it's like a teenage
Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm just saying what. So, what were you saying? Like you think that one definitely should have?
well I could see your trip beating out Club Dread in the box office. Uh, it just like it had that really fun raunchy comedy vibe to it that especially during that era that was a very popular style of filming at that point.
Well, the next one was Miracle.
Okay.
Miracle beat Club Dread in its fourth week. By the way. Um, and then Club Dread was next after that. What didn't beat it is Welcome to Mooseport. You know, and that was in its fifth week. And its seventh week was Barbershop 2, back in business. Um, Number 11 is Monster,
Hmm.
that movie with Charlize Theron, I think.
Yeah.
Um, Mystic River. I didn't know that even came out the same year. Now number 13 was The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, and its 10th. You know, remember when movies used to be out for 10 weeks, used to be out for like it feels like movies are only out for like a month and then they're, tossed to
And
stream.
now here's another fun thing you're going to have to take into effect with Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, because I'm assuming, like, actually, even if it's not, even if it's the regular one, the length of that movie there is no way they're going to get the same amount of theater times in as the other ones are. So they can get more run times in than Lord of the Rings can. Because Lord of the Rings, if it was the extended cut, that which also would hit the theaters, that's a 4.5 hour movie. Uh,
No,
uh,
this is the regular, it seems.
so
This is
what?
the extended cut. Was that?
So what was it like a 3.5 hour movie?
Let's see. Does it say how long? Oh boy, that was that. Oh man, that was. Whew. That was there for 6 weeks or 6 months. That was from January, no, December 17th, so even longer. December 17th, all the way to June 3rd.
Hmm.
Can you imagine being in the theater for that? Well, actually, I can because was it Deadpool and Wolverine were in the theater for that long
Oh yeah.
because
If people are keep buying tickets, they're going to keep it in there.
right. Um Against the Ropes was next. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but all 20 that were in there. But it does make me laugh that like Club Dread got beat out by like Dirty Dancing 2 or whatever, and a couple other ones that it should have beaten. This should have been at least number 3 in the box office, not 4, you know.
No, I definitely agree with you on that one. But like I said, a lot of it is just timing and stuff. And unfortunately, that was a bad time to be for a movie like that to go in competition with what was on there.
It was February. Why put like, because kind of February is sort of the time where you like, yeah, at least back then, that was the time where, a lot of movies went to die. Like nobody really wanted to be out in February because, uh, and what was it? What time in February? It's like February 27th or something. February 27th. If it had been like closer to maybe, Valentine's Day, it might have done well because, the guy would be like, hey, let's go see a horror comedy,
Well, I
for
mean,
Valentine's Day.
that's what Hard Eyes and My Bloody Valentine remake did. They came out around Valentine's Day. Thanksgiving came out around Thanksgiving. Like like that David Harbour Santa Claus movie that came out at Christmas time.
So this should have really came out during like spring break or summer break, kind of thing.
I mean,
Because,
I would have gone with summer break because just the tropical tone, that's when people are really like going full out. But I mean, I do agree with you though. Like either one of those would have been fine. Like definitely a sunnier time one. It goes more with the atmosphere. It goes more with the tone and stuff, and kind of gets more people like in the mood for that kind of style of like filming as well. It's got like when October hits, we get flooded with lots of new horror movies.
well, yeah, and we get them throughout the year, but they're very like the way they market and they do this like Megan came out this was it this past month, right?
And bomb.
As Megan too. It didn't do very well, but um I didn't see it, so I can't say I helped it.
I actually
Uh,
heard all good things about it too from those people I knew that saw it. I think what turned a lot of people off is that they kind of went in a little bit more direction. They added a little bit more, from what I heard. Ironically enough, I heard they added a little bit more comedy to it. Like they made her more animated. Uh,
mm,
in this one, like she's kind of turned more into a little bit of that Chucky esque kind of style.
well, I mean, and that's well and good, but like I don't know. And then I heard there's like a spinoff or something that's happening. Um, I'm not sure, but
They're gotta grow. I mean, even Chucky did. I mean, look at how Chucky was portrayed as the doll in the very first one, and then compare him to Bride of Chucky, or heck, or even Child's Play 3. Like he started getting a lot more of a personality. He started becoming more of a smart ass, making more quibs, and making more like little comical jabs, but before he would kill you and stuff.
hmm
But the very first one, he was just a creepy, eerie doll that you just realize, wait a minute, that little sucker's talking without batteries. Like, that was like the creepy aspect about the original, but then the later ones, and like especially Bride of Chucky, they just went for broke on that one. They're like, yeah, we're gonna let him smoke pot. We're gonna let him get on with a female doll. Yeah, we're just gonna go crazy and have fun with this one.
I think, and correct me if you think I'm wrong on this. I think I discussed this with Maddie. Rest in peace, Maddie. When we did 90s horror, we did Bride of Chucky, right? And I had never seen it, but I knew about it, right? I knew a lot about it and everything, but I had never seen it. Just I still haven't seen Seed of Chucky. I need to watch that at some point. Um, but uh, but the thing with Bride of Chucky was that that was post Scream, Chucky. That was 1998 Chucky,
Hmm.
and post Scream Chucky became more self-aware.
Yeah,
It's meta. There's, jokes in it instead of, because, there's always these things where, that horror did sort of go in the 80s and 90s, go into like comedy, or whatever, a little bit comedy aspect. Like Freddy especially. Like when they made part one, he was very serious. Two, he was a little, goofy. Part three, he had more goofiness. But four, that's the Nightmare on Elm Street that just took it to like the next comedy level. He's a jokester now. He's making puns and killing people, or whatever.
favorite in the series, the like 3 and 4 together, because I look at those two as like one giant story. Like it's kind of like the Elm Street Kids saga story. With, like three and four,
I
especially.
say three and four, five, because like they both all continue each other because
Well,
like
have to include one as well. Two, you could technically skip because there's not really much relevance outside the fact that he's living in the same house as Nancy did. Uh,
right.
but yeah, Nancy was a part of the Elm Street Kids, and all those era kids from part three were. And then yeah, part four was the last of the last stand of the few of the original Elm Street Kids who, and then it was the passing of the torch on four to the new crop. Uh,
Mm,
five is kind of like I mean, you could technically include it. You wouldn't be wrong if you did. But for me, it's kind of like I could go or I could take it or leave it because like for me, it's like when you lost Joey, Kincaid, and Krista, that was the end of the saga. Like
yeah.
we're going to the new batch.
But wait, what was the character's name? Was it Tina that was like in part four and then came back in five? Or was it not Tina? What was the girl's name? I'm completely um
Oh yeah, Tina, but she came back in part three. Oh no, 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 Nancy, no, no, Tina was in part one.
no,
Tina
I'm talking about Alice. Alice.
House.
So Alice was in part four and five, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah, but Alice was the passing of the torch.
Right.
Like and that's what I'm saying. Like once that happened, once those original three from part three, like they were technically the last of the original Elm Street Kids. Like to me, like you could say like that movie, it was the ending of the saga. Anything after that kind of was for the new batch. Which don't get me wrong, I love as a matter of fact, I've got a canvas. Well, actually, I have a Freddie glove that I have the Elm Street kids and Freddie and Nancy sign, but then I also have a Freddie canvas that I got all the I got all the actors from part four to sign for me.
Have you met Danny Hassel yet?
Yep, he is actually on my part four one. He's super nice.
So okay, I have a really funny story with that. So I actually know somebody in Virginia and Williamsburg that was a Marine, and he actually was in the same platoon, same whatever grouping as Danny. Danny was a Marine, if you didn't know that or whatever, and they were both together. And so one day I'm talking to this guy, and I'm talking about how I go to horror conventions and things like that. And he was like, "Do you know Danny Hassel? And have you ever, blah blah blah." And I was like, I mean, I know of him, but I don't know him. Like, I've never met him." And he was like, "Yeah, no, we used to be in the same platoon and blah blah blah." He's telling me stories or whatever. And then he was like, and then so later I was going to Texas Frightmare, and Danny was there, gonna be there. And so I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be over and seeing Danny. Do you want me to say anything to him?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was just tell him." And I'm not gonna say my friend's name because he's not, a part of all any of this stuff and everything. I don't wanna say it, but he said, "Yeah, go tell him." I said, "Hey," and so I did, and came up to Danny and I said, "Hey, man, I know so and so from Williamsburg, from Virginia. I don't know if you remember." He was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome, dude! Yeah, like, oh wow, that's what a small world, kind of thing." And it was a small world because I'm a huge, you know, horror buff, right? But I didn't expect to know somebody who actually physically like was in the trenches with, with Danny, and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool. I got him to sign something, so he's such a neat guy.
Oh
I
yeah,
liked
no,
him.
like, really, really nice guy. Like, yeah, like I said, like funny enough, he actually did sign my canvas for free because it was at Carolina Fear Fest. I was running a slasher 15 table there, and he was there, like as a guest, but he was also there to promote Reunion from Hell too because he's in that with Alice. Um,
Right.
and
I don't have that one yet. I have Reunion from L1. I need to buy the Blu-ray for part two because Lydia Manson's also in that one, I believe. And I fucking love her. So she and I are good friends. So yeah. Yeah. Have you seen it? Have you seen Reunion from L2?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no, 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 it's not bad. Oh, yeah, like I'm friends with some of the people in that, like Sam and Joanna Hodge.
Yeah. Very sweet people. So yeah, anyway, wow, we really did get off the track from
Yes, we did.
well, I mean, we always do for every one of our things. So if you have listened to us before, you're probably used to this. If this is your first time because you're a big Club Dread fan, I am so sorry, but we do this where we kind of meander and talk about other films. And this is horror film lovers. This isn't Club Dread lovers or Broken Lizard lovers, which that would be a fun podcast if somebody wants to do that. That's go right ahead. I have too many already, so I'm not doing that. But I do love Club Dread. It is not my favorite. So we've talked about this. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. And we'll get into this because Michael and I both have have like our top seven ones and everything. We're gonna do that right now and everything I want to see. So let's go down from number seven. Okay, what is your number seven?
My number seven, my least favorite in the bunch would be Quasi, their latest one from Hulu. I It had some fun parts to it, but overall, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I love your all's films, I really do. I'm a big fan, but it's right now the only one of their films I don't own on physical media yet. Like, I'll get around to it, but I'm
Wait,
not.
is it out on physical media? Because I thought it was direct to Hulu.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not sure if it is or not, but that goes to show you right there. I haven't even bothered looking because it's one of those ones where, like, I'll get to it eventually, and I'm a big Broken Lizards fan. So the fact that it's not already on my shelf, kind of already by that default alone, I have to put it at number seven because it's the only one out of the seven I don't own yet, and nor have I jumped the gun to, oh my god, I gotta go get this movie. I have to own this movie. It's got to be in my collection. You know,
Yeah. Yes, and Quasi's on my list of number seven because I just absolutely hated that movie. And I'm not trying to, once again, we're big fans of Broken Lizard, so we're not dissing on them, but we just don't. I mean, it's not. It felt more like them trying to be Monty Python or something, do something in that range where they're trying to get out of their, comfort zone or something, do something different. And good for them for doing it, but it just wasn't my cup of tea.
my biggest gripe with that one too was a lot of the jokes, and you knew where the jokes were. They just weren't landing. They weren't landing like they had in the past. They're like, I mean, there are so many quotable moments, like in Super Troopers and Club Dread and
Even in Slam and Salmon had
oh,
a
yes,
few.
I loved a lot of the ones in Slam Sam. I mean, Michael Duncan Clark alone had some of the fun ones. Like his whole like whatever, motherfucker. Like,
Right.
I love that every time he said that, or like whenever he was trying to pronounce the names, like meat curtains. It's Metropolis. What does it say? Meat curtains. I mean, I like, and that right there brings up another point why Quasi is an easy number seven is because even on that alone, there was not any memorable moments. There are not moments in there that you want to go back and requote or anything like that. And I just felt like a lot of the jokes, like they are present. You do see them, and I think that's part of the problem. You see them coming a mile away, and a lot of them, it just they don't land like all their air stuff does. Like it felt like this was like a one off for them, and like I said, like I'm definitely not writing off Brooklyn Wizards. I'll tell you right now, if I heard Brooklyn Wizards came out with another film again, I'd go catch it in a heartbeat. Like I am a big fan. It's just unfortunately, guys, that one missed the mark for me.
Yep. All right, so we both got number seven as Quasi, so I'm not surprised. This, I'm not gonna be, I'm not sure what this is gonna be on yours, but for me, number six is Slam and Salmon. It's one of those movies where I like it a lot. I think it's funny, but it's not something I put on enough, I don't watch it all the time or whatever. So what is number six for you?
Number six for me is Puddle Cruisers.
I had a feeling it was because we had this talk earlier and you said Puddle Cruiser and Quasi, and then you said spoiler alert, they're my two of my least favorite of their movies or whatever. So I wasn't sure which one was going to be which, but I knew we would be different on that and we'll still be different on that later. But yeah, I like Slam and Sam. I think it's a great movie. It just wasn't my, it wasn't my favorite. All right. Number five. What's yours?
Number five, Super Troopers 2.
There. Number five for me is Super Troopers 2 as well. Um, it's not as catchy and quotey as the original. In fact, they do a lot of like throwbacks to their original jokes.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It felt a lot like just a recycled Super Troopers. I didn't feel like they did. I didn't feel like they broke any new ground with like the new one, and like even things like Friday the 13th. All throughout that series, they kept breaking new ground like that one. Even from part one to part two, there was a whole new breaking ground. Even want to go a step further and be like, "Well, that wasn't even the same killer." All right, look at part two, Jason, to part three, Jason. Like,
Mm,
there was an upgrade there, and I just felt like it wasn't there for Super Troopers 2. I felt like they kind of went with the same formula that made the first one successful, and they kind of just ran on those coattails. It's still a very enjoyable movie. Uh, I'll be honest with you, like I mean, I assume by now, like everyone always knows all, like everyone's seen all these things. So, spoilers on this one if you all haven't. But anytime you're gonna tell me there's a horror, I'm sorry, not horror, but if you tell me anytime there's a comedy and your villain's gonna be Rob Lowe, I will check it out.
right.
Like Rob Lowe, and seeing him play a villain is always so funny because even when he tries, sometimes you're like, but you're just so damn adorable.
I know. Well,
Yeah,
I loved him in like what Tommy Boy and Wayne's World and
yeah, but
things
he's
like
so
that. But yeah,
like
he's adorable,
yeah, it's like you're just too damn adorable to be a villain. It's like I can't look at you as sinister. Like even if you are mean, like I forgive you because you're adorable.
All right. So number five for both of us was Super Troopers. Number four for me was Beer Fest.
Wow. Okay. Number four for me would be Slam and Salmon.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I kind of had a feeling. Number three for me was Club Dread.
Number three for me was Super Troopers.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, look.
all right. I'm trying to like think of where this is going for you because I'm trying to think of what. Oh, okay. I know what you're doing. All right.
You probably got it now, I think.
Well, number two for me is Super Troopers. What's number two for you?
Number two for me is Beer Fest.
Yes. And number one for me was Puddle Cruiser. What
And
was number one for you?
Club Dread.
Um, so here's my thing. When I
Opposite sides of the spectrum. So
I know, well, so and I had a feeling it was gonna get like that toward the end, and everything like that. And I knew that we'd have maybe some on the same. We did. We had was it Quasi and Super Troopers 2 were both on the same, same end. But so when I first, so I used to work at a video store, right? Back in like the early 2000s. And so 2002, was that it? It must have been, no, it must have been 2000. I started working because I was 18. And I started working at this video store. And 2001, 2-ish, 2002, I got to go to a movie. Was it? I got to go to a movie festival that Kevin Smith threw called Fulgerthon. I got to watch a movie that's coming out in August with the Super Troopers guys. All of them are in this movie. It's called Big Helium Dog, and it is hilarious. But unfortunately, it's taken like over 20 years for it to be released, or whatever. I don't know why. There might have been music issues, or there just might have been a lot of other issues or something, but it took a long time. MVD is releasing it, and I am so stoked because I remember it making me laugh so hard and whatnot. So I can't wait to get that in August. However, so I became a really big fan and I heard of Super Troopers coming out. But before then, I heard that Puddle Cruiser was on Sundance,
Mhm.
right? So I went to check it out and I laughed so hard like throughout it. Like there was so many good jokes in that movie in my opinion. I thought it was so funny. It was independent, so that was fun to see, as somebody who actually really did like was starting to understand that people could make movies on a low budget, at that time. I was like, this is incredible. So I end up getting watching Puddle Cruiser and recording it on my VHS, and watching it over and over, showing my friends. We did it for Quick Review Thursday at one point. I love the movie. I thought it was so great. And then um and then I watched Super Troopers and I really love that movie, but like, you know, Puddle Cruiser was like the movie that to me introduced me to them, right? Which your thing would have been you got introduced from Super Troopers, then you watched Puddle Cruiser, right?
Actually, I watched Paul Cruisers a little later on. Actually, I watched Paul Cruisers like it was either after Club Dread or after. Actually, no, it was definitely after Club Dread because no. I watched it after Beer Fest. That's when
Okay.
I saw it. Um, but it's just me. Like I said, everyone's got their own taste and everything. But like I said, I did enjoy it. I didn't think the humor was as good as their other movies. But I think the other thing for me when I saw it, it felt almost like a carbon copy of like Animal House.
Hmm, it's a
Uh,
little different.
there's another college one around that same time that came out, or a little later. Uh, um, like another kind of fraternity, SK kind of one and stuff. Like I said, it was a good one, but I didn't see anything out of it that would make me say, "Oh, that stands out above the other ones," though. Either.
Well, I mean, it's kind of Revenge of the Nerds, ish kind of thing with the idea that these guys are not the popular guys. These are kind of like, in my opinion, those guys would be like the nobodies, and everything. And so I really liked Puddle Cruiser. I thought it was really funny. It still cracks me up to this day. I quote that movie all the time, more than I quote Super Troopers.
Here's also a good like a take on that one too. If you didn't have Paul Soder and Kevin Hefferman's characters in that movie, I think there would be almost no comedy at all.
I disagree. I think there was a lot of comedy. There was a lot of really good lines, like little lines like there was this um what is it? There were certain stuff like and I think I even asked Steve Lemmy about it, when I was interviewing him, right? I was asking him about certain things because it felt like a lot of it was real, like stuff that actually happened to them, and they just kind of threw them through all these like, and one of the things was like one of the girls gives them a number, and it's like there's only 6 digits in there, not seven. So they're like trying to figure out how to do it because he won't ask, the person, he won't go and ask, what is it? The girl for the extra number, So he's trying to figure it out himself and he's getting like all these, answering the phone and you're going, oh, sorry, I got the wrong number. And it's so silly and it's funny to me. I don't know, it cracks me up. So,
Well, I mean,
everybody, we all have our own taste.
oh yeah, no, exactly. I mean, like I said, like Club Dread was like number three for you, while it was my number one and stuff. And you probably thought Super Troopers was going to be my number two, and it ended up being my number three. So, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
different tastes. Like we all like what we like. We all view our comedy differently. I mean, some people love slapstick, some people like whimsical, some like all the above, some like the dry British style comedy humor. Sometimes, like I said, there are so many different angles of comedy, just as there are different genres of horror. Like you don't have to like one like and always like the other completely either. Like you
Right.
get things like I know a lot of people love supernatural horror, for example. It's actually one of my least favorites.
Oh,
I
I
like
get that.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I do like some of the paranormal ones. Like, there are some good ones out there, and I do enjoy them. But as a whole, it's not the genre. That's my go-to. Like, my
Uh-huh.
feature or slashers. Those are my two big ones that I love in the horror genre. Like I said, I'll dabble in other ones like the dark comedies or the horror comedies, obviously, and all that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that's just my view on comedy too. Like, not everyone views comedy the same way, and you're not gonna be able to please everyone on that.
Nope. Not at all. But yeah, so anyway, well, I'm glad we had this discussion, and everything. And everybody else, if you haven't seen Club Dread, please go out and watch it. It is available to rent or buy on Amazon, or you can get the DVD. Like I said, I hope somebody puts it out on Blu-ray or 4K. Criterion, I'm looking at you. But until then, everybody, we'll be back next month, I think, is going to be our last month for a while, and then we'll be back next year for a brand new season. But I don't know what you have planned. Do you have an idea what you want to do?
I will get back to you on that one here soon.
All right. Well, we'll be back next month for a brand new episode, and we'll let you know what it is when we know what it is. All right. Until then, everybody, have a good one. Bye.